Good day, everyone. This is Jesszon Cano, and I'm going to discuss about the cognition of learners, specifically on the theories of intelligence under the Gardner's theory. So first, we will discuss about the learning outcomes of this segment or this discussion. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to first recognize the multiple intelligences theory and its origin. Second one, to compare and contrast the 8 different types of intelligences. And then lastly, to classify the assessment characteristics of the multiple intelligences and traditional counterparts. So what is the multiple intelligences theory? So first, Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences proposes that people are not born with all of the intelligence they will ever have. And then this theory challenged the traditional notion that there is one single type of intelligence, sometimes known as G, stands for a general intelligence, that only focuses on cognitive abilities. And to broaden this notion of intelligence, Gardner introduced 8 different types of intelligences consisting of first linguistic, or next is logical or mathematical, third is spatial, fourth bodily-kinesthetic, fifth musical, sixth interpersonal, seventh intrapersonal, and lastly naturalist, which we are going to discuss later on. And Gardner notes that the linguistic and logical mathematical modalities are most type valued in school and society, especially within this 21st century. And lastly, Gardner also suggests that there may other candidate intelligences such as spiritual intelligence, existential intelligence, and moral intelligence, but does not believe this meet his original inclusion criteria. So let's proceed to the background of this theory. So the theory of multiple intelligences was first proposed by Howard Gardner. So in his 1983 book entitled Frames of Mind, where he broadens the definition of intelligence and outlines several distinct types of intellectual competencies. So Gardner developed a series of 8 inclusion criteria while evaluating each candidate. That was based on variety of scientific disciplines. So he writes that we may all have these intelligences, but our profile of this intelligence may differ individually based on genetic or experience, just like his statement in his book, Biopsychological Potential to Process Information That Can Be Activated in a Cultural Setting to Solve Problems or Create Products That Are of Value in a particular culture. So let's discuss about the 8 Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. So this is what I have mentioned earlier. So let's start with the first one, linguistic intelligence, or it is called word smart. So linguistic intelligence is a part of Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory that deals with sensitivity to the spoken and written language. So they have a ability to learn languages and capacity to use language or accomplish certain goals. So people with linguistic intelligence such as William Shakespeare and Oprah Winfrey have the ability to analyze information and create product involving old and written language such as speeches, books, and memos. So the potential career choices for a linguistic person, we have here a lawyer. You may also have a speaker, host, an author, journalist, and curator. Okay. So the second one is logical mathematical intelligence, or it is called number or reasoning smart. So logical mathematical intelligence refers to the capacity to analyze problem logically, so carry out mathematical operations and investigate issues scientifically. So people with logical mathematical intelligence such as Albert Einstein and Bill Gates have an ability to develop equations and proofs, make calculations, and solve abstract problems. So the potential career choices for this particular intelligence are the mathematician, accountant. We also have statistician, scientist, and computer analyst. So the third one is spatial intelligence, or what we call picture smart. Spatial intelligence features the potential to recognize and manipulate the patterns of wide space, those of, for instance, by navigators and pilots, as well as the patterns of more confined areas such as those important sculptors, surgeons, chess players, graphic artists, or architects. So people with spatial intelligence such as Frank Lloyd Wright and Amelia Earhart have an ability to recognize and manipulate large-scale and fine-grained spatial images. So for the potential career choices of this kind of intelligence are the pilot, surgeon, we have also here architect, interior decorator, and graphic artist. So the fourth one is the bodily-kinesthetic intelligence, or we also called body smart. So body-kinesthetic intelligence is the potential of using one's whole body or parts of the body like hand or our mouth to solve or to fashion products. So people with body-kinesthetic intelligence such as Michael Jordan and Simon Biles have the ability to use one's own body to create products, performance skills, or solve problems through mind-body union. So the possible career choices for this kind of intelligence is the dancer, athlete, surgeon, mechanic, carpenter, and physical therapist. Okay, and then the fifth one is musical intelligence, or we also call music smart. So musical intelligence refers to the skills in the performance, composition, and appreciation of a musical pattern. So people with intelligence such as Beethoven and Ed Sheeran have an ability to recognize and create musical pitch, rhythm, and tone. So the potential career choices for this kind of intelligence are singers, composer, musician, and DJ. Okay. The next is interpersonal intelligence, or we also call people smart. So interpersonal intelligence is the capacity to understand the intentions, motivations, and desires of other people, and consequently to work effectively with others. Okay, so people with interpersonal intelligence such as Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa have an ability to recognize and understand other people's moods, desire, motivations, and intentions. So the potential career choices for this is the teacher, psychologist. We also have here the manager, public relations, and sales people. And we also have here the intrapersonal intelligence, or what we call the self-smart. So intrapersonal intelligence is the capacity to understand oneself, to have an effective working model of oneself, including own desires, fears, and capacities, and to use such information effectively in regulating one's own life. So people with intrapersonal intelligence such as Aristotle and Maya have the ability to recognize and understand his or her own moods, desire, motivations, and intentions. So this type of intelligence can help a person to understand which goals are important and how to achieve them. So the potential career choices for this kind of intelligence are the therapist, counselor, entrepreneur, clergy, and psychologist. And lastly, the naturalist intelligence, or we also call nature smart. So naturalistic intelligence involves expertise in the recognition and classification of the numerous species, so the flora and fauna of his or her environment. So people with naturalistic intelligence such as Charles Darwin and Jane Goodall have the ability to identify and distinguish among different types of plants, animals, and weather for information that are found in the natural world. So for the potential career choices for this kind of intelligence, we have the botanist, biologist, astronomer, meteorologist, and geologist. So these are the 8 multiple intelligences. So for the implication for the learning of this discussion, individualized education has typically been reserved for the wealthy and others who could afford to hire tutors to address individual students' needs. So that's really the reality. So but because of the technology, especially in our time today, in our generation today, technology has now made it possible for more people to access a variety of teaching and assessment depending on their needs. So pluralization, the idea that topics and skills should be taught in more than one way, activates individuals' multiple intelligences. So presenting a variety of activities and approaches to learning helps reach all students and encourage them to be able to think about the subject from various perspectives depending on their knowledge of the topic. And a common misconception about the theory of multiple intelligences is that it is the synonymous of or with learning styles. So Gardner states that learning styles refer to the way an individual is most comfortable approaching a range of tasks and materials. So for the conclusion, multiple intelligence theory states that everyone has all 8 intelligences at varying degrees of proficiency, and individuals' learning style is unrelated to the areas in which they are the most intelligent. So for example, some with linguistic intelligence may not necessarily learn best through writing and reading. Classifying students by their learning styles or intelligences alone may limit their potential for learning. So the research shows that students are more engaged and learn best when they are given various ways to demonstrate their knowledge and skills, which also help teachers more accurately assess student learning, according to Darling Hammond. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. If you have some questions or clarifications, just comment down below. Thank you.